And a lot of people are saying if it goes to penalties, the Borders are going to win again. I don't think that's true. I think anything can happen to penalties.
I honestly think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be a goalless draw, and it's going to go to penalties.
It's going to be a cakewalk now, in fairness.
Yeah, we're not here to mess around,
Yeah.
but we're here to play and we're here to win and take it home once and for all.
Everything is being dealt with. Me and Dylan, our partnership will be unlike any other. Our partnership will bring the win.
I'm Mark Hambidge, and may I present to you the final and full cut of Borders vs Days football match. A fixture in the making years, finally getting the coverage it deserves. There's so many to thank for making this project possible. First and foremost, I'd like to thank my year, Form 6, for making this possible. The last 6 years have been a pleasure. Knowing you, growing with you, and now leaving with you. And I'd like to say, although it feels like we're leaving everything, like we're losing everything, such is life. And while changes are never nice, we grow from them. So I don't think of all I'm losing. The early mornings, late night assignments, or the dining hall lines. I think of everything I've gained. And it's been my pleasure putting together one last memento to remember our memories by. Of course, Ezra and Curly produce an Instagram for his amazing work on this project, and his overall involvement has been such an integral part of the success of this project, so thank you very much. It has been a pleasure working with you, and I hope we can produce more amazing projects in the future. Jack co-hosted the Two Guys One Mic podcast on Spotify. It was thanks to him the audio for the match was available. Of course, he helped massively with the interview process and the marketing of the match. Without him, none of this probably would have happened. From being a great friend to always give me the confidence to go further and do better, I couldn't ask for a better brother, alongside all of my amazing family and friends in the Wolf Block. Last but not least, the teams, supporters and officials who came on the day. If you weren't there on the day, the atmosphere was just electric, and the support for this project by everyone has been amazing. We're thankful to have a good referee and linesman on the day, alongside with a huge outing of supporters for both teams. The managers, coaches and team medics were out in power, looking good. My role in this wouldn't have been half as good without all of you. You've made this a pleasure, an honour, and this is the least I can give back. What you're about to watch is training footage of both teams, followed up with warm-ups and commentary on the match itself. For the last time, I'm Mark Hambidge, and this is Borders United versus Days FC.
There's never any doubts in my mind because I'm the best in the world. Even though a lot of you don't like to hear it, it's facts. I'm the best. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't want to believe it myself, but it's the truth. I'm the best. And I'm just convinced, you know what I mean? These fellas, how dare them challenge me with their somewhat primitive skills. They're just as good as dead.
touch Wouldn't that be sweet? Yeah. You belong with me, yeah. But girls don't cry, no. I'm just saying girls don't cry, no. I don't think she wanna be mine, no. Playing with your heart all night, no. Like girls don't cry. Let me fucked up, loving is easy when it's all over. Swear that you'll leave me, 'cause girls don't cry, no. Playing with your heart all night, no. Like girls don't cry, no. But girls don't cry.
And kickoff has happened. Sean Nocton has the first play of the game. Stopped by Sully. Very chaotic play in the middle here, but Sean Nocton trying to bring some calmness to it. Back onto the wing with Moore. He needs to get past Charlie. He does. But Pierce gets in there with a clearance. Now it's up in the air for Luke Bay. No, he couldn't control it. Borders defense have their first test of the match. And Freddie brings it in, not so cleanly, but brings it in nonetheless and kicks it out. Charlie Moran on the stop, very good control. Pass it still in possession. That Borders defense is getting tested. Playing it into the middle, but it's going to be very tough for Borders to break down that middle. Days are controlling the play of the game, but the Borders with the influx of midfielders managed to get through. Throw in for Mark Kavanagh. Goes to George. Stephen is on that though. Very good pressing from the Borders. Very good pressing. It's really going to be a test for the Borders if they can keep this momentum up. Obviously it's working very well. It's closing down the Days, but it's not sustainable. They might just resort to a kicking game. A halt in play there. Of course, Pierce is looking like he's going to take the free. Quick one to Nicholas. Nicholas boots up the field, but Alfonso gets his head in that. It's up in the air now. Luke Bailey with a tough push there on Jack Finlay. Clear foul, but he thought he'd get away with it. Our ref, Jeff Carr, made it very clear at the start of the game that he doesn't want people going down on the Astro here. He wants a very clean game. So a few shoulders like that might result in something more than just verbal repercussions. Sean there, very good control on the ball. I've been to the training sessions. He's one of the standout little players there, but his pass goes away. Of course, this is in a bad position for the Borders. Out there, Jacob puts it to Charlie, and it's out once again. The Borders seem determined on stopping any play from the Days. Of course, odd formation from the attacking side of Borders, as one of them is really more back in the midfield position. But I think this is a game plan the Days can sustain for a very long time, putting pressure onto the Borders and the Borders just having to kick it out. Eventually something's going to break. George does it again there. No competition in the middle. Dara to Mark Kavanagh. Mark Kavanagh puts it in, but Sean puts his body on the line. Out of play in the Borders sub bench, which seems to be going all over the place there. Out to Luke Bailey, who has good control, but he's being mauled by two of the Borders. Good round of play. What a throw. There we go. Steam with the skill. Looked like it was out though. Yeah, it was. They're going to call that back. Unfortunately, it was a good piece of play though. Mark Cameron with the throw-in again. Very good throw-ins, very direct. And Luke Bailey now given too much space, which seems funny because two men are nearly constantly on him, but it's still enough space for him. We now have the first corner of the match going to Days FC. Can they capitalise off this? I saw some of their aerial warfare there yesterday. Very good in the air. Very precious with their shots. Of course, Ben going offside there. Ben Talbot is way offside. Don't know if Sean should tell him. But they saw that it was going outside the box and they're prepared. Very good play from the Borders. This is their first opportunity. Can they get there? The Days look like they're going to shut it down. And Mark Kavanagh shuts it out. But that was a very good opportunity. More than that, it's very good vision from the Borders United to see that it was going outside the box. Sean Knox is under pressure now. He keeps calm. Puts it back to his defender. Alfonso Garcia now has a job of clearing it out. He puts it a little too powerful for Rob. And goes back to Days FC in the midfield where they can build it up. Now the important thing for them, that was a very clever cross by Jacob. Now you have, so close. Darren Nolan, of course, the knife himself, getting his first shot and goal there. Just trying, but Freddie looked like he had it under control, getting down on his knees. Very, very good play on both sides. Now the Days need to be careful not to rush play too much. That's some good build up there. Of course, the Borders just playing what can be seen as a bit of a tedious game plan, but still working nonetheless. And they've just cleared it out there once again. Now, of course, these two managers are going to be looking on if they want to make any changes. Days FC, I think they'll be good for a while, but the Borders, the way they're running and pressing, they might have to use that sub-bench. I think they already have with Adam Cope coming off. I'm not too sure who came on just yet. Of course, Stephen Smith once again with the offside position. I don't know if that is a tactical play or not, but Jay McEnroe seems to be going back. They're not playing the offside trap. Of course, you have one of the linesmen there, David Lowry, who's going to be keeping an eye on that Borders defence. It's looking good for them so far, and good control in there as well. Andrew Moore going on, cutting through that middle, back to Dean Symes. Dean has a choice. There he makes the right choice to Robert. Very impressive play from the Borders here, very impressive play. Unfortunately, with a heavy touch from Robert Lawler, it goes out into a rather fruitful position for the Days FC on their back line. They'll be keen to get this out of here right now. Of course, two of their current centre-backs are playing, rumoured to be injured for this match, so it's a bit of a surprise. And of course, Pierce Phelan, who'd be one of their better players, is in a cast right now. So you wonder how long they're going to be able to push him, and Nicholas Fadan with a wonky angle. But as long as the Borders keep pressing, you never know what might happen. Jay McEnroe really seems to be the glue that's keeping those two together right now. And at any moment they could be brought off for Adam Pender's management style. We really don't know yet. Up in the air, looks like it's going to go out there into the audience. Very, very strong showing today of a lot of people out to see the match. That was a very strong tackle from Jack Tully and Jacob Malloy there. I think they're going to call it back for that one. It was from the back. Adam Pender seems to be giving constructions to Mark Kavanagh to go out wide. I think they're going to shoot it into the box here. It seems like the wise thing to do. I think they've pinpointed one of Freddie's weaknesses, which is the corners. They might be going for those. Of course, they have a very spread out, very good in, but Freddie gets his hand to it, punches it away. Of course, Dean is now Mark Kavanagh. He has to get that out of there, and he pushes him out of there. I don't know if the ref's going to call that. No, it's going to be a simple throw-in. Oh, is it? No, I might be calling back for a foul because that was a clear push, even from my angle. It is going to be a free kick in a really bad place for Borders United. Of course, Borders don't seem to be too scared there. They have lots of people in the box there, and it just goes out. That was, unfortunately, it was a sneaky play from Days FC, but it didn't pay off. Now they're having the second corner of the game. Honestly, their best choice might be going long with this. They don't want to put it into that really congested middle where there seems to be about 6 boarders defending. And they get it out of there no problem. Of course, it's a back and forth really with ping pong at the moment. Really, there is no clear successor into the match so far. It can't be said that either team has been necessarily strong. Both teams have had moments where you could say, yeah, they could score here, with the boarders being very impressive on the counter. With a few of their attacks there, playing good wide ball, accurate wide ball with good control by the wingers. Of course, Stephen Smith going into another offside position there, maybe trying to separate Jay from the rest of the pack there in defence. It literally is a one-on-one if the boarders can get it up. Talking getting up, Sean knocked in there, just nearly misses his chance, and they're getting him now. That press from the boarders is lethal, but of course it leaves holes in that defence that players like Luke Bailey will be able to take advantage of. Ben Talbot gets it out of there, Sean Knockton who heads it on. That is a very bad tackle from Pierce. But of course that's the type of player he is. Sean Knockton puts it long, puts it fast. Andrew Moore I think that was a foul there. Pierce is being called up by the ref Jeff Carter on foul play there. It was a bad push at the back, but of course we've seen lots of that. We've seen 2 or 3 incidents of fouls from different players. Call it passion of the day, but you can also call it just roughhousing. It's going back to the boarders, who probably would have liked to play on there if Jeff Carter would have allowed the game to go on. It's those type of moments that you just really need to have a little bit of leeway, I suppose, when it comes to fouls. It's back to the boarders here from Jay, who's clearing it. Andrew Moore has it, 3 guys on him, and still getting him back to Sean Knockton there, who gets it in. Of course, that's clear for Marcus now. Deflection off Robert Lawler. I think that the best strategy possibly for this Borders United team is when you're low at the back, make sure to boot it up. But in those high positions where there's maybe 3 or 4 of you playing it high, a lot of risk in that. A lot of risk. They have to manage that risk theory a little bit better, because when it comes to those, you have much more control in the low shots than you do the high shots. Giving it away in midfield, a bad position for Days FC attackers, with 5th one coming to Mark Kavanagh on the wing. Will Luke Bailey see him? I don't think he will. He cuts it back into the middle to Jake O'Sullivan, who gets it out there. Probably going to go wide with Mark Kavanagh, who's playing as a wing back today, I believe. A very, very good position for him, because those wing backs can come back and forth. I think Charlie Moran's on the other side. Stephen Smith, 3-on-1 here, with Dean coming back in his midfield position. And I was saying, Charlie Moore and Mark Kavanagh playing those wing-back positions, it's very good because you can go back and forth between the defence very easily. Sean Knockton getting on his head. Needs to keep on the ground to have more control in those shots. Of course, Days FC back on it again. It looks to be outnumbered, but the way they manage their space is very good. Space management was something we noted in their training session they're very good at. Will they keep it up here? Ball's went out of play, of course. Marcus Neal with a kick-off. He was telling me yesterday his kickoffs are one of the few things he's not happy with as a goalkeeper. He'd rather do something else, but his kickoffs aren't something he's happy with. That was a pretty decent one. It's got the Days FC into a good position. Jake O'Sullivan there being surrounded by four Borders United defenders. And that is just them in general. They're a very tricky defence to break down. And it's only on those counter-attacks when they have people up. But I was at their training session last night, and a lot of them want to play that sort of low block where 4 of them are back constantly. Not necessarily that they don't trust their goalkeeper, but they just want to be back there and have something secure at the back. Of course, out to Dean Symes now. He has to get it up fast. He's taking his time. He makes a missed pass. It's out to Luke Bailey, but he's covered. That defence is just it's really tough to break down. He gets it back there, but Alfonso Garcia clears it for Ben Talbot. It goes out there. Jay McEnroe will take the throw in there. He's got enough flares, he's got good options. Nick, of course, there. That ankle doesn't look to be too dodgy at all. It looks to be he's quite strong in it, to be honest. And we look at Stephen Colburn earlier. He had an ankle problem, but he seems to be working it off well as well. These ankle problems are they're all around for a lot of the players there. It's tough to get around them. Of course, 15 minutes to go. I believe it's 30 a half. Some players are tiring down. Some of them are taking a more risk assessment approach. Ben Talbot, of course, gets a break there. Jay McEnroe manages to stall it for a bit, but it's still in play there. And of course, cutting it back into the middle, it's out there. Stephen Smith outstretching himself, possibly stretching a muscle. Looked bad. But good build of play. They're generating chances. That's what you want. Mark Calvin with another throw in there. Sean Nocton gets it on the chest and puts it out. But certainly it's smart play from Days FC. It's smart play altogether. Borders United seem to be stretching themselves in some places. It's working. It's certainly working and getting those chances. But Days FC, you could say considerably, put up more pressure on those. Ben Talbot moving into that dangerous position. It's very smart play from the Borders United attack here, trying to separate those players. But Days FC seems to be very united at the back, of course, playing 5. Oh, George Shepherd clears it there. Playing a traditional role of 10. Jack Finley with a phenomenal tackle there, getting play up, starting it for Andrew Moore. I think it might just go out though. Don't think, yeah, it did go out. They're generating chances, they're generating momentum, and it sort of has to pay off at one point. But we'll go forward even more here. Days FC, very, very controlled with the long passes. But Borders United aren't really getting broken up by it. Of course, Jamie Maxwell just came onto the pitch there. Some very good ball play there from him, cutting it back into the middle there. Sean Nocton now has opportunities. Oh, they have a chance now, but it's just going to go out. Sean Nocton, of course, bringing into Andrew Moore there. It's one of those things, once it goes up in the air, it is harder to control. And that's a lesson the Borders United haven't taken on board yet. And they're still bringing in high balls in those chances. If you bring in the low balls, you have much more control, and in some cases much more power as well. Those high balls are just really a gift for Days FC at the moment. Of course, they're doing it themselves, but they're sort of managing it a little bit better, where they're not doing it really in that final third. They're more doing it in their own half, just before the halfway line. Sully there with another good play. Oh, very, very, very skilled play from Jacob Malloy. He's shown us some very interesting things today. But it's really tough to be skillful when you have two borders on top of you, and that's really what they're doing. They're getting on top. They're being around. I think we do have a drone in the air. I'm not too sure where it is. We'll try to get some bird eye view of the other half of the pitch. A big thank you to Jack Carney for that, and a big thank you for Ezra Dolan at Curly Produce for the camera work today. We have a GoPro in one of the goals there, and you'll be able to see all the action. Balls came to a stall once again. A free kick to Days FC. Nicholas Vidan seems to be taking this. The more I see him to play, the more confident I am in that ankle is going to be fine. Luke Bailey can't put anything on it. It was a bit high in the air. Too tough for him to work off. But of course, very hot day out here today. The sun is beaming down. It is beaming. Andrew there gets it off to Robert, but Robert doesn't have enough control and it puts it back. No control in that shot, but Andrew Moore still gets it out. Pierce Phelan with a cheeky toe at the back there. Days FC seem to be warming up some of their subs, and Borders United seem to be already warmed up. That's out of play. Of course, the Borders have yet to have a set piece really in that area. They seem to love giving away set pieces, but they haven't had one in that final third yet of the Days FC. But of course, Marcus Neal with a kick out. Very, very controlled. He's getting better at those kick-outs. Sean Nocton very physical with it though, and manages to put the ball out there to Days FC throw-in. Mark Allen with another throw-in, very, very solid on that side. But it's tough to be able to control that ball when you have 2 or 3 Borders United defenders right on you right away. Another high ball from Borders. First set piece in that final third, which is good for them. It's something they can build on. They need to take it. I think they're going to take it faster, but they really need to compose themselves. They don't really have that many players up yet. Still 2 people up funny coming up for some players at defender. Jack Philly might want to check that. Because of course that Days FC counter attack is deadly. Even with 2 of them, they can just slice through you. Jacob Sullivan ran out there by 3 of the Borders United players. Ben Talbot seems very set on staying right beside that Jay McEnroe, Nicholas Vidan duo. Of course, it's turning out to be an interesting match. Fred controls the ball there, just goes out from Darren Nolan. I think it's a free kick to. Oh no, it's a goal kick from Borders United. That 5 at the back for Days FC is turning out to be very helpful. They can play it back and not really have any worries there. I think both teams are. It's a really interesting match, but I don't think it'll be one where many goals will be scored. It seems to be one of those ones where it's going back and forth like a bit of ping pong. It's entertaining, but nonetheless, I can't really see many goals. It could go to penalties. You could be lucky enough in that regard. Of course, a free kick to the Days FC here in a dangerous area. I don't think Nicholas would go for it. Maybe play off one of his defenders there. Darren Nolan is very dangerous when it comes to that stuff. Oh, very close. Off the post there from Luke Bailey in the free kick. Those free kicks, the Borders United have to stop giving them away. That is not a foul. Charlie Moran just fell down on his knees there for Sean Lockton, who wouldn't. Of course, that now, Pierce going to the ground. Now, that the ref might call that up. That might be a yellow card right there. No, I think he should have let him away with that, but that he did go to the ground in that tackle. The Borders United seem to be getting more set pieces here. Sean Nocton, very nice. It's just too much for Ben Talbot, but nonetheless, it's those type of plays. You don't want to be playing those high balls in when you're in that final third. You want to be playing them around halfway, trying to build up there. And it's good ideas from the Borders United. They're lacking execution at the moment. Unlike Days FC, who really are knocking on hell's door when it comes to that goal. Alfonso coming up a little bit higher. That defense just risking it, coming up a bit higher. We see the Days FC defense. They're not coming up high. The 3 of them are staying back there solid, unless it's for corners. We've seen it on 2 or 3 occasions the Borders have broke through. It's been when those 2 of those 3 centre backs have moved up forward, so they have to be careful. And it's looking like Nicholas Vidan, who was meant to have the injured ankle, is one of their star players when it comes to set pieces. So he will be coming up quite a bit if they give it away. So they have to be really careful with that, not to play him too much. But of course, there's an opportunity for Borders United when that centre back trio breaks up. So they really have to keep an eye on that. Of course, Ben Talbot, Sean Nocton playing up very, very high, nearly an offside position. It's confusing as to why. But I suppose it's focusing 2 players on one resource, one could say. But of course, another corner, 3rd corner there or 4th corner to Days FC. Oh, in there, Freddie right to his chest there. But good effort from Nicholas Vidan. Freddie a bit lackluster with the kickoff there, but Jamie nearly gets to it. Good take from Freddie though, good take. Going out for what seems to be a goal kick here. The Borders instruction there is keep doing what you're doing to Jamie. They seem very confident in the way they're playing. They don't see really any reason to change it. Of course, so far it hasn't really led to any major breakdowns. The team is solid. They don't seem too keen on replacing too many players, but they have had 2 subs, which the Days FC haven't made use of any of their subs quite of yet. They haven't made any use of any of the subs, which is a bit surprising. I would have said Days FC might have needed to, but they don't really want to. And Borders United were quite vocal in the fact that they feel that their starting 11 is their best 11. They didn't want to take any subs. They wanted to play it safe, play with their team, but they are the ones making the subs. So it's interesting in that manner. But nonetheless, it's going to be a good match. Nicholas Vidan marking Stephen, Jay McEnroe marking Bed. Very little space there for them to work with. Another corner for Days FC, doesn't turn into anything. Into the box. No, it's the Jamie needs to get on that before Mark Kavanagh. I think it's going out now, yes. It's into that Borders bench. Out to Jake O'Sullivan, who puts it right back out again. Bit of slow play there. Of course, slow build up here, but the Borders United will be comfortable with that. They don't want to waste too much energy. Of course, they've had a very high pressing game, so they don't want to be. They want to have these moments where they can sort of rest too much. You can't really rest easy with a combination of Nolan and Bailey up there with the likes of Sullivan and Kavanagh chirping in with good pieces of play. Okay, Ben Talbot taking a more central position with Jamie going up beside Jay McEnroe there. Interesting call. Borders United managed to get it out to Ben, who gets a little bit manhandled by Nick there. Doesn't look where he's shooting. But Pierce Phelan misses the goal. This is a chance for Borders United. Andrew Moore missing his mark there at the pass, but Jamie crossing over. Sort of a tactical whimsical there with Jamie Foxx moving out of position there. But a mistake by Pierce there led to a good counter from the Borders United. Now it's to Nicholas Vidal to nail this throw in. Of course, 6 more minutes on the clock. Good stoppage from Jack Tully there. Very big player, not going to get past him easily. Very big physique as well, good rugby player. Charlie Moore putting it out there. Not that good of a throw-in, but nonetheless it gets the mark. Luke Bailey calling it there for the wing. Alfonso's on him, but a very skillful player. You never know with him. No, Alfonso has him there. He wasn't getting past Jonzo there. With Ben Talbot playing that more central position, you have to wonder, is that a planned thing, or is it just something that that has been done by players individually? Because Jamie is playing very high up there in an offside position. So one has to ask, is that intentional, or is that just individual players' preference? Ben Talbot moving into that more central position with Stephen Smith moving on to the right wing, or left wing. He looks to be looking for a bit of water there. Stephen had a bad incident there where he stretched himself a bit too much for one of the missed balls there. So we don't know if he's 100%, but even Stephen at 50% is still better than most players. Andrew Moore now taking it in. Charlie Moore stopping that ball from progressing. And Robert Lawler is pushed to the ground by Pierce Phelan. I don't think that was an intentional thing. More, Robert ran into him, and Pierce is sort of nearly like a wall. So it's tough to get past him, of course. Build a play there from Andrew Moore into the box. It's getting very scrappy up there in the day's final third. The Borders can't really break down that three at the back with 2 wing backs. Another throw in there by George Shepherd, going to be a long one. Yep. Jacob Malloy misses the mark there. Stephen Colburn puts it up right to Jay McEnroe though. Stephen needs to control this. Don't put it to him. No. He didn't control it. He just passed it right away. Oh, Luke Bailey is broke away now. Alfonso needs to get onto him. Oh, it's cutting it back. Freddie just gets there. That's very, very worrying from Borders United. But of course, Days FC staying calm and composed. That shot from Stephen Colburn there, he really should have tried to go on with it instead of passing it away. But of course, nerves can get to a player. You just want to get the ball out. It's the individual performances that often win these matches. That's just the straight fact. Great players doing great things. Now Pierce Phelan, of course, puts it out there. It's going to be a goal kick. We have about 3 minutes to go until the second half. A few scares from Days FC, 1 or 2 good plays from Borders United, but nothing too concrete. Of course, there's a lot of worrying stuff happening right now. Sean knocked in the middle of the park, a lot of space. Jamie Maxwell puts it a little bit high for Robert Lawler, but nonetheless he finds a way to control it. Stephen Smith in the middle of Ben Talbot. Ben Talbot just doesn't get his foot there. He needs to be able to turn his body more to that ball. But that just comes with experience. You can't just buy that off the Facebook marketplace. Mark Kavanagh gets it out there, and it's going to be a comfortable out-of-ball play for Borders United. Of course, not too much happening in the way of goals. Nothing happening really, but we don't worry too much about that. It's been good play so far. Jamie turns around, does a very nice turn there. He has Jay McEnroe to deal with though. He can't deal with that Jay McEnroe. Very persistent defenders, but very nice turn from Jamie there. Very nice turn. Stephen seems to be reclined to more of a midfield position now at the moment. Days FC were given a free play there, but they sort of throw it away. It's going to be a goal kick. good music playing. Stephen Smith controls it, chests the ball, and he has it in the middle there. He can't get through Jacob Sullivan, very tight. Alfonso puts it up in the air. Not much control in that ball, but Sean Nochlin gets to it nonetheless. Charlie Moran pushes him, being very quite physical. Sean Nochlin once again all over the place when it comes to composure, but somehow still making it look cool, calm and collected. He's been one of the bright spots for Borders United so far, with some of his balls creating interesting chances. Days FC have a free run of the ball now. No one's opposing Jacob Sullivan in the middle. Stephen Colbert's out of position in the wing. Luke does one of those low shots there, trying to find one of Freddie's low weaknesses, but Freddie gets down very fast, very nice, and manages to bring that ball to a stop. Stephen Smith on the ground there, didn't quite catch that, but it looked like one of the defenders was manhandling him. Of course, out of play, Charlie Moran throwing it in once again. Oh, George Shepard nearly put a hand to that ball. Mark Kavanagh plays it into the middle, but Jack Finley gets a hand to that. Nicholas Sedan misses the mark with that. Marcus Neal making a very bold move now, coming out. Stephen just misses it, but that was a very risky move from him. Probably one of the better moves in the same regard as well. As a goalkeeper, it's better to be confrontational up on your attacker before they have a chance to think about what they have to do. Kicking it out now to Days. A few options. Mark Kavanagh on the wing. All the other players seem to be covered, except for George Shepard in the middle. He's sort of in between a triangle of Borders United players. Pierce Phelan has to get help with tying his shoelace. Of course, he still has that cast on. It's phenomenal he's even playing, but I said it before and I'll say it again. I knew he was going to play. The minute Jay McEnroe told us he wasn't playing, I just knew he was going to play. Jay's that sort of guy where he never tells you the real truth. So when he says something so out front like that, you know something's fishy about it. No offense, Jay, I love you, but I felt in your bones you were lying about that Pierce and Nick not playing. And that is a half. We'll be back for the second half very soon.
Thart took his heart, big skins, he sing him anymore. Few loose carry son on a Mars bar, through door salak and shin to my hard bar. Thart took his heart, hustle him a fell tour, yeah. Far book back when I'm on tour, no top mosh pit, sweaty balls encore. La alaka canna, doing stuff Kermit on the kale. Muggley and Tuggly, for taking branches through a glass on a huggly. Kira or his feet, care with imagine it was mal into Nia. Fuck all else, the Johnny Hart and Shaw, and you're rashing and shop at two, get a pack of raws. Caught in the loop like I'm trying to read a book. What's the same page over and 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 over. Caught in the loop like I'm trying to read a book. What's the same page over and over and over and over and over and over. Ah fuck, I just watch a movie.
We are good to go. Second half kicking off here, Borders United versus Days FC. The electric first half, but unfortunately not much in the goal front. There was rumour of Pierce being taken off. He seems to be on the field, but questions lay about how much longer he can play. Days FC don't seem to have made any changes. Now we go back to Borders United. They don't seem to have made much changes either. I think they've reverted back to... Nope, they've made the same. Jamie Maxwell is still on the field, of course, and replacing Adam Cope early. It was a very tough first half, of course, but you could say that Days FC had the better half of two, being more consistent in attacking. This half is really going to determine who the winner is when it comes to just being more consistent in those attacks. Of course, ball going out there. Jay McEnroe throwing it back in, going high with it, and it goes out once again. I was talking to Sean Nochlin at half time and just saying those high balls, they're very hard to control. It's better to keep it low, especially when you're in the final third. Of course, Ben Talbot, he's not really going up in the air, which really means that those defenders have run of the ball when it comes to that shit, but he just played it back there. Sean Nochlin, who played it right back to him. Looks like they've lost control there, but somehow maintaining possession. Sean Knox, a very powerful presence in that midfield, but he can't make any good of that, because once you're really surrounded by 2 or 3 players, it doesn't really matter how skilled you are. That bombardment of players is going to be too much for you. Now, the Days FC are on a bit of a counter-attack here. Darren Nolan needs to get it out. He doesn't. It's going back to the midfield now with Jacob Malloy, who had a very fancy turn there, but it didn't come to anything. It's unfortunately it's been it's a low-stakes game so far, with a few chances arising here and there. Every minute that passes is looking more and more like penalties, but of course that brings a little bit more tension. Marcus Neal having to really stretch up for that one.
Keep composed, lads.
It's now the Borders United, what I believe to be their first corner. They've come out in the second half and certainly been more attacking. Like.
Dara!
It's going out there for nearly another corner. Andrew Moore managed to control it there. It's going to be Days FC now. Foul play. We have more of an audience coming out here. I believe a few teachers are coming out now. With an interesting play developing. Jake O'Sullivan nearly getting there. Not so much though.
Charlie!
George Shepherd nearly saving it there, but not too much. It's a Borders United throw in there. Andrew Moore it's Sean Knockman taking it. He throws a tremendous throw. Robert Lawler unfortunately doesn't have any control over it. Now it's going up, testing that Borders United defence once again.
Well done, a good play. You did go there, well done.
Charlie Moore now coming off for Daniel Manning. Of course, that Borders team is definitely getting tested, but possibly a bright spot for the second half is they're doing as much testing. Questions are still raised to if they can actually develop the play at all, because they're creating chances but they're not executing those chances. Of course, there's a lot of more people coming out now. Good attendance for this match, a really good attendance. Unfortunately, the match's intensity has not really matched the attendance. But good header from Stephen there, but unfortunately it's going right back to that Days defence who shoot it right up. Jack Finley getting his head to that ball. Very dominant player, overpowering Luke Bailey there. Daniel Manning getting a foot to that before Jack Finley can. Jack Finley getting a bit aggressive with Daniel Manning there. Niall Manning and Kyle Galvin are now coming on. Mark Kavanagh coming off for what looks to be Niall Manning, and George Shepherd coming off for Kyle Galvin. So 2 changes. Now this is where the Days might have the advantage in their bringing in fresh players. They haven't brought them on too soon. Of course, the Borders United made some changes early, but one could ask, do they have the same quality of changes to make now? Where Days FC have sort of held out with their changes, which is working in their favour currently. Pierce Phelan once again a very heavy tackle. Jeff Carter calling up for I think maybe the 3rd or 4th time for a rough tackle. It's tough to know how many more times Jeff Carter's going to let him get away with this before a card is shown. Borders United, fortunately enough, have a set piece in a good position here. I think Jeff is insisting that Pierce comes off now. James Lambert is going on, and Pierce Phelan walks off with an air of grace to him, putting in some very good tackles and putting in a good performance. Yeah, so we just got confirmation Pierce is pretty much told to get off the field in a friendly way. Mark's a good change. James Lambert is a taller type of person there to match Stephen Smith in height. Nearly succeeding him in height, I think. But whether intensity-wise, I'm not too sure. He might have the same ball knowledge. He has lost the track of Stephen Smith already there. Going for the back post. Days FC don't really seem to be organised in that corner. Looked like it deflected off James Lambert's shoulder nearly. But yeah, that Days FC just bundle in the middle is very congested. It's not seeming very organised either. The last corner, 2 players were levitating near the back post there, and I think James Lambert is trying to take the back post, but then being swapped around with another Nicholas Vidan there. So yeah, it's a very congested middle. It's not being helped by Borders' rough play there. Stephen Smith getting ahead to it, but it's just too high up. Mark Steele now with a kick off. And Mark Steele kicks it off, but no one is there to grab it. Jake O'Sullivan sprinting up the field. So he's sort of a wall here. It is tough to see, but I believe Freddie has possession there, kicking it off. Daniel Manning taking the throw in there. Of course, Daniel Manning now throwing it out to Kyle Galvin, I believe, there. Good throw, good choice.
Don't put people on just because they want to go. Yeah, Adam, you know what we fucking talked about this. Don't put people on because they want to. You have to put the people on. I said I wanted to go. Don't put me on. I'm loving it.
Of course, Days FC with another set piece here in a dangerous enough area. Days FC putting up there. Oh, Freddie coming clashing with Luke Bailey there. Very interesting clash. Of course, Days FC regaining position in that side of that box. Just, Jacob Malloy is trampled there by Borders United defence. And being shot in, but of course, I believe that is Rowell. Yes, it is Rowell. He just lost control of that ball and went way above the goal instead of across. Of course, down to a corner at Days FC, they've been making use of these corners so far. But I think Rowell's going to take this corner now. Interesting. I haven't seen him practice corners before. Daniel Manning calling it from outside the box. Getting his head to it nonetheless. And it just goes left of the post. Jack Mackey now coming on. Not too sure who for. It seems to be Robert Lawler. Interesting choice. Robert Lawler's playing CDM today. Interesting choice having Jack Mackey come on in that position. Some would say he mightn't be as physically dominant, but he could make better plays with the ball. He's very agile. He's got good passes. You never know where he might go from there. We seem to have more and more people culminating around the fences there. More fans, more tension.
Take off James.
So we'll see where this goes. Mark Steele with another kick out there. His kick-outs have been very good today, nonetheless. I know he said he was a bit nervous about him. Pierce Field, we have you in the box here. How are you keeping?
Aye, look, I'm not too bad. It's a good game, I'll be honest. I'm enjoying it.
I saw a few of your tackles there. You were very, very ferocious with the tackles. And your knees are bloody as well.
I know. Oh.
Jacob Malloy there, very skilled play, very good ball player. They're up there. Thank you, Pierce. Oh, very, very tough play in there by Jamie Maxwell. Daniel Manning going to the ground there. No shortage of rough play here. Ben Talbot, of course, making really a muck of that pass with Stephen Smith, but Stephen Smith somehow controlling it. He's being roughhoused by the two Manning brothers. Really surrounding him, giving him no choice there. But that was a bit of rough play from Talbot and Stephen. There might be much chemistry there. We have Gaza in the box with us now.
That's crack, boys.
Yeah, this is Gaza. Have you played yet?
I haven't played yet. No.
Yeah, you getting on the field?
Hopefully.
Of course, the throw in there by Sean Nocton into the box there. They've been making much more play. Getting a shot off there from Andrew Moore with Nicholas Vidan just blocking it. Rouse coming off for Tom Sheehan, I think.
Man, we have 12 people on.
Raoul, get off!
A bit of conflict there in sub changes. Tom Sheen, I believe, coming on instead of Raoul. A bit of an odd choice there, if I'm being honest. Not for Tom's lack of play, just different builds of players, really. Tom Sheen getting pushed out there by Jack Tully. He can be a bit of a nuisance of a player.
Give everything last minute, Kyle.
He's going down. That might be a penalty. That might be a penalty. We might have a penalty, folks. That looks like it might be a penalty. Stephen Smith went down in the box.
That is such a dive. The guy's
It could be a penalty.
And he's 6'4", he's not falling for that.
If he's falling, he's in.
I think it is that we can confirm it is a penalty now for Borders United. Stephen Smith most likely taking it. Is going to be. It's a question of whether he might take this or not. You know, Stephen Smith's a very composed penalty taker, but at the same point.
He's like 100 kg, he doesn't fall like
Of course, we're in the midst of the two teams here, both of them disputing.
Literally fucking jumped.
We have Charlie Moore coming back on, I believe, and Pierce Phelan's back on the field. Good choice, good choice. Now, of course, the penalty here. This could be the match winner. Both teams haven't showed much composure in front of goal until now. Stephen Smith taking
the
it.
game so far.
Misses the penalty. It's a penalty miss. The Days FC are thanking their grace. No, calling it back. I think it's another. They're going to retake the penalty, or are they? I think it's just calling the players up. I think Days FC got a bit rowdy there. Jeff Carter could be reprimanding one of the players. I think he's talking to Nicholas Vidan and Charlie Moran. I don't think they're retaking, but I think that was a stern talking to.
Nick, you get sent up. Just like a sin bin for a few minutes. You only have to come off for a few minutes.
We have confirmed Nicholas Vidan has got a sin bin for 2 minutes. And now Jeff Cutter is talking to Pierce Phelan, who he originally told to get off the field. He might be telling you that again. That'll be 2 big losses for Days FC. As I think Pierce Phelan is perfect in that position. Just talking to. Affairs are getting sort of rowdy at the moment. Of course, that penalty miss, it was unfortunate for Borders United because that was probably one of their best chances on goal, if not the best. But Stephen Smith refusing to shake Pierce Phelan's hand.
I can go on for Tom after a few minutes.
Of course, Marcus Neal kick off now. I think everything's been resolved in that manner. Yeah. Move back up. Thank you. James Lauer, very good throw. Play into the middle. Tom Sheehan now. Free play in the middle, passes it to Luke Bailey, trying to make control of it there with the 2 players in the middle. They're not giving much space, but Tom Sheehan nonetheless gets the ball there into the middle. Jack Rankin not clearing out properly enough. Jack Tully getting Luke Bailey's ass in the middle of his foot. Some composure is needed here from both teams. Days FC need to make sure they stay the play of the game. Of course, Borders now need to calm down. Jeff Carter once again. Jeff Carter telling Charlie Moran to shut it. He's being very stern, but you have to be in these cases. He wants the chatter to stop, the back chat, the trash talk. It's very important that the players stay calm at this moment. I'm not too sure if Nicholas Vidan's sin bin has been ended. I don't think it has. We don't know what it was for yet, but it's in relation to reaction to that penalty nonetheless. 3 players surround Ben Talbot there. He couldn't do anything in that case. Of course, just really composure is needed. There's a lot of high tensions there for the last few minutes. Some calmness is needed in the storm. Another throw in here. It's in a dangerous position. We don't really have that clear of a view on that side of the pitch. But Pierce clears it off. Very solid for the Days so far. And somehow stayed uncarded, which we had him in the boot here a few minutes ago, and he was quite impressive for him. So am I. He's been a very solid player. Stephen Smith going up in the air for that. Maybe trying to bait another penalty there, but he couldn't get it. He's been very physical in that final third so far, and it's good to see. Sean Nocton once again just losing control of the ball, but it's really an overlapping from Borders United, not too much organisation in that midfield as of the moment, but really getting back to that composure is what they need, like they had at the start of the second half. They're very good, very good plays happening, they're building up very nice. They just really need to get back to that now. It all led up to that penalty, which unfortunately they missed, but in moments like this you really can't blame anyone for missing a penalty. This is arguably the biggest penalty of the year, so there's no really pressure on that. Jacob Malloy loses the run on the ball there, but it's alright. It goes back to that back three. James once again putting it up in the air. Jack Finley gets his boot to it, but he's surrounded by a triangle of Days FC players, and those two Mannings since coming on have been very, very physical, so there hasn't really been much for the Borders to capitalise off. There's a timeout here. Jeff Carter's calling a timeout. Rowan Byrne, Mark Kavanagh and Nicholas Sedan are all coming on. James McEnroe is coming off, along with James Lambert and I believe to be Niall Manning. No, Niall Manning is staying on. No, he's definitely coming off now. Yeah, he's coming off. Daniel Manning stays on though. Of course, Daniel Manning keeping a strong positioning on Andrew Moore. Ben Talbot having a bit of space in there, but Marcus Neal gets to it. He doesn't have a solid grip on it, he lets it go. Stephen Smith, of course, trying to turn around, doesn't get there. Pierce was very physical there. He kept the ball out. Pierce is a very strong candidate for man of the match at the moment in my book. He really has been, in some way, consistent. He's conceded fouls, but nonetheless, he has been one of the main reasons that defense. Whoa! Marcus Neal, very, very tight on that. Ben Talbot had a very tricky flick of the ball there, and Mark Kavanagh got down on it right away. But Ben Talbot getting more active in that box now, which is sort of dangerous to see. Charlie Moran holding on to that shirt there, I believe. Or it was the other way around. It was the other way Sean Nocton holding on the Charlie shirt. It is now a set piece in their own half for the Days FC. Of course, Nick Sostan back on the pitch after his sin bin there. He brings up to Sully, who's on the edge of the box there. Can't really do much with four defenders on him, but it's shot back in there. Rowan Byrne couldn't get his foot to it, and Alfonso doesn't actually clear it. It goes backwards up in the air. That's a very dangerous ball, but the Days FC can't do anything with it. It goes back now. Jamie Maxwell and Ben Talbot there on the attack, but they can't make anything of it either. Good play, good play. Of course, there's about 10 minutes left in the half now, and no real threats besides that penalty and a few good plays, but no one's really made too many attempts on goal there. Both keepers have been solid getting down on that ball, and it's been a consistent trend. A lot of those attackers have tried to go for those corners, those low shots, but both Freddie and Marcus have been good at getting down real quick. It falls to Stephen, and he just gets on the edge of the goal there. A bit more composure if he had released that shot a little bit earlier instead of letting his body turn so much. Jack Finley once again though getting it back to Stephen. The Borders do not stop there. No, he's not calling that one. Stephen Smith did go down, but it's not being called. Daniel Manning shooting it back up there for Luke Bailey. It's in a dangerous position. Luke Bailey still has it. He stops it. No, that's not a penalty. Luke Bailey did go down, but it's not a penalty. His foot got caught up in the ball there. That was a good call from the ref. And they need to get that ball out of there as soon as possible. Jack Mackey not helping with that case, putting it just right up in the air for Charlie Moore. They need to get that ball out of there. Sean Nocton with a very strong push in the back, anxious to get it out of there. Jay's now been signalled to come off. Gavin Corkin, Gaza, is coming back on. We were talking to him in the boot earlier, and he was very determined to come on. Very physically well-built player, so he could hopefully add more to that defensive style of Pierce. That is deflected from Jack Finley. Of course, tough to see that angle with basically the whole Days FC bench nearly on the field. But nonetheless, trying our best here to give you the best commentary we can. It's a throw-in for Sean Nocton, making the best of it there to Andrew Moore, who doesn't really know what to do with the ball there, and loses control of it to Daniel Manning. But nonetheless, it's still the ball. Ben Talbot unmarked in the box there, only now being caught up by Mark Kavanagh. But Sean Nocton in the middle of the field on parcel. Pierce is just getting his body in the way in every single way possible. It's really admirable to see. Charlie Moore now being called off the field there for George Shepherd. Good play there. Cheeky little pass away of the ball there by Charlie before he came off. But of course, another corner for Borders United. They have to start taking these chances because they're all just slipping away very slowly. We have 8 minutes left in the match, and it's another opportunity sort of lost there. But Sean Nocton could salvage it. Turns there, but not soon enough. Manning is on him. Of course, that Days FC are surrounding Sean. 4 players. He manages to get it away, but the pass isn't solid enough, and it goes out there for a Borders United throw-in. I believe Stephen Colburn passes it off to Jack Mackey there. Niall Manning comes on now for what looks to be Rowan Byrne, who had a good showing for himself. Nothing too impactful, but of course consistency is what Days FC have been praising. Days FC now progressing in that final third. Certainly not as dominant as they were in the first half, but nonetheless they're taking those opportunities, have defended very well. Stephen Colburn getting in the way in that shot, but he can. Jake O'Sullivan continuing to go there, and it is a shot pulled off by Jacob Malloy, but it just goes wide. And that is very good play from Jake O'Sullivan, who's just pushing through that defence, not taking no for an answer. Days FC can continue to build on that momentum, as what I really like about them is that Borders team hasn't really made too many changes. Jack Carney coming on there, a very solid player, but not really too many changes besides Jack Mackey, Jack Carney and Jamie Maxwell. That Days team have been here beside their bench. They're constantly rotating, they're constantly fresh, they're hydrated, they're good. That Borders team is possibly lacking that little edge of fitness, which if it goes down to penalties, which would basically 5.5 minutes on the clock, it could very well go down to penalties. That little edge of freshness could help. Daniel Manning winning it back there, getting a shoulder from Andrew Moore, and the ball goes wide there. There's a bit of a wall here, so we can't really see that well, but luckily not too much of the play has been in this half. That's alright. That's good, Adam, thank you. Now throw in there. It's a bit of a congested play there on the side, but nonetheless, Jack Mackey getting in there. Didn't really do much. Now that was a foul inside the box. That could be a penalty. That could be a penalty. No, it's just outside the box. Now that didn't look like outside the box. That looked like it was inside the box to me. But Jeff Carter's calling it inside the box there, with a very dangerous position from Sully there, who's been phenomenal in that box, just running through players. And of course, one of them just happened to stick that leg out too far. It can happen. Jake O'Sullivan, a very on-target shot, but of course Ben Talbot gets his head to it, and now it's out again. They love going over that fence. Jake O'Sullivan, wonderful play there, even just getting his body through there and managing to catch that leg and get that set piece. It's wonderful play. We even had Jay McEnroe say it in one of his interviews that they're going to play for those fouls, that the Borders United are going to want to give away those fouls. So as long as the Borders are still making those fouls, the Days FC will take advantage of them, and they have so far. A lot of those fouls conceded by the Borders in the first half, not so much in the second half. Throw it here by Mark Kavanagh to Jake O'Sullivan, who's been very solid so far in the second half. One of the best players. Mows over Stephen Colburn, nursing an injury. And that is a clear attempted foul on Jake O'Sullivan there. I'm not too sure who by. We've hit a wall here. But it looks like we'll get another set piece there. Another clear set piece in a very advantageous position there with I would think Nicholas Vidan might be taking it, but Daniel Manning is lining up for it.
Gavin, you get ready to counter, right? Jay.
Gavin, step wide a bit. Gavin.
And it breezes over. It breezes over, but on that back post, one of the Days got their head to it, but it was just too late. Too little, too late.
Hey, boys, drop! Drop!
Now this is a dangerous position. Gavin Corkin with his biggest test of the match so far against Stephen Smith. Jack Carney calling for the play, but Stephen Smith decided to go alone here. He's got himself in a little bit of a hole there, and it goes out. He probably should have used Jack Carney there, who was in the centre, but of course Jack needs to work with that as well. Jack Carney seems to be taking the throw, and now he's going to pass off to Sean Naughton there, who's been very dominant in the midfield. It's hard to see what they're going to do with this play now. A lot of Days FC defenders around the place. Less influential than they were in the first half, but certainly there. Nicholas Vidan stopping that Stephen Smith play.
I talked to Mr. Willis. He said, their penalty. He said Stephen dived.
Of course, now going for another corner. Borders United have been able to rack up those set pieces in the second half.
God, Niall.
Man, I haven't.
2 minutes left on the clock here.
2 minutes left on the clock.
Borders United taking all the opportunities they can. Stephen up in the air once again. He doesn't seem to mind the physical clashes.
What is he falling down?
You have to admire that quality of just getting in the air.
Oh no, I'm in the box. I might as well just fall over.
He did it as well. He dived there and he came out to me. Leave it after.
Of course, Dean seemed to be clashing with Niall Manning there on the right-hand side of the field. The ball goes over. The Borders can't really do much with that corner, but I think it's going to go out for another one now. Or, yeah. Now they're going to keep playing, I think. Just over by Sean Naughton, over Marcus Neal. They haven't been able to do much with a lot of these balls. Marcus Neal doing another kick-off. Kicking it out. Dealing with Stephen Smith there as a little bit of opposing to some of his goal kicks. He kicks it out there to the middle of the field.
As we go on, like we do. When it's hot outside, I wanna just chill with you. What you need, a little mind at ease. There's a little sunshine, a drink, and the summer breeze. Let's smoke and ride, baby. If you feel the same, let me know. If you feel the same, then let me know. I wanna rock you down, yes I do. What you got to lose?
You done made it to see a whole nother summer and it feel good. Stop now, top down through the neighborhood. Let the wind blow, open up the window. That girl is poison like Velvet DeVoe. We have a barbecue to do at 4. Swimming pool party in the back on the low. BYOB, and the plates of food will be laid out for free. Little kids, get down. I have a bus pull up with Tommy the Clown to do the jerk, get crump, go to work, and do that dance that'll make your whole damn body hurt. Playing Bombardier, calm and clear. This that time of the year for everybody to be boisterous. Rock with Snoop Dogg and rejoice to this.
As we go on, like we do. When it's hot outside, I wanna just chill with you. What you need, a little mind at ease. There's a little sunshine, a drink, and the summer breeze. Let's smoke and ride, baby. If you feel the same, let me know. If you feel the same, then let me know. I wanna rock you down, yes I do. What you got to lose?
Shined up my white walls, night falls, I'm feeling hella good. I'm doing things that you never would, like surfing with the sharks or shooting in the dark. Riding on a bike with my grandson at the park. Evolve while I elevate, take flight, levitate. Breakfast for dinner. I'm cold as a mother, but the summer ain't the winter. Finna, bender, Kona, on a 3-wheel motion. I'm headed to the ocean. Caravan full of cars, neighborhood stars. Up and down the boulevard we go till we can't go no more. It's me and mine, it's summertime. You go off and we go on.
As we go on, like we do. When it's hot outside, I wanna just chill with you. What you need, a little mind at ease. There's a little sunshine, a drink, and the summer breeze. Let's smoke and ride, baby. If you feel the same, let me know. If you feel the same, then let me know. I wanna rock you down, yes I do. What you got to lose?
Alex, Connor, Josh.
Kiss the camera.
Yeah.
Goal mouth at the end, right? Second thing, friend of the word getting hitched. So we remember him and we present the trophy to you today, sir. Congratulations.
Gaff a loop, Brain Talk 8.2. It's been too long, I need an encore and sweaty balls too. Gaff a loop, nothing to do. It's been too long, I need an encore and sweaty balls too.